Now then guys, this is a 3-position full body mobilisation routine which can be used as a warm-up or as a daily practice. So we start with our bow and bend, which is opening up the spine and hips. We then go into our reach and hip lock, starting to activate the glutes, mobilise through the ankles and trunk area, shoulders. From there we go into squat to stand. From here we're trying to mobilise through the knees, ankles, hips. Trying to stay nice and upright in that squat position, open the hips up, using the elbows, and then obviously reaching forwards, getting into the hamstrings as we bend forwards. Next up we have our dynamic rotations. So from here we're trying to mobilise through the spine, hips. I start by letting my head move, and then as I go into it, I'll try and keep that head still, and you'll notice how much more trunk control and trunk tension you'll feel with the head still. You can also do this on one leg as well, where you can reach from low to high, like a wood chop action. This is more of a controlled movement, but it does make it very difficult for balance and start to mobilise that hip really well. We've then got leg swings, again mobilising the pelvis, hips. I like to have my hand on my belly here to try and limit the amount of pelvic motion. There will be some, but you don't want too much of it. From there we're going to go into a quadruped or all fours position. Notice that I tuck my toes under and I start with these I call quadruped rocks, going into the wrists and then back into the ankles. From there you can kick a leg out to the side as shown. I'll get more into the inner thigh area. And then next up we've got cat-cow, which I'm sure many of you have done before, going through flexion and extension of the spine. Flexing under, bring the pelvis under, and extending, bring the head and bum towards the ceiling. Next up, one of my favourites is thread the needle. This is working through thoracic rotation, as well as shoulder abduction and extension. It's a really nice one, especially after doing a lot of sitting. We're then going real deep into the hips and hamstrings in this quadruped position. So I start with my knee down here, opening up the hip as I lower down, and then reaching back, trying to keep that chest upright, looking forwards as I reach back. You can also do this with the legs straight, as shown in a second. That's going to place more emphasis on the hip flexor of the back leg if you keep the legs straight. And then finally onto this quadruped position, we're going to do bird dog sways. This is getting to the hip rotators as we rotate backwards and forwards, also the trunk extensors and anti-rotators to maintain that position. So it becomes more of an activation exercise. We're then going to do rock and roll, another favourite. This may be useful in the future when you learn how to roll as part of our kind of fall proofing section of our programming. So from here you can go in little circles if you want to. You might start by just rocking back and going back to your feet, but you know, if you can, it's a really good exercise to get into. And from there we've got lying leg crosses. This is very much into the hamstrings and the lumbar spine, a little bit into the thoracic spine as well if we keep both shoulders and arms down. Next up we've got a hip bridge and rotate. So you'll see that I bridge my hips up, engaging my glutes, stretching out the hip flexors, and then reaching across my body to get into that rotation through the upper back as well. Last couple now, we're going into spinal extensions. The further I bring my hands forward, the harder it's going to be. And from there I'm just trying to extend and peel my spine off the floor, looking to the sky. And then we're finishing off with our prone swimmers to take our shoulders through their full active dynamic range of motion, with the head slightly off the floor. Okay, so just perform probably about 5 to 15 reps of each of these. Spend more time on the one that you feel more restricted on, and yeah, enjoy.